Alright, so we're going to go back to where we got cut off on the last video. I apologize for that. We're going to go to use Kramer's rule to solve this system of equations. You can look at the PowerPoint to see how they would do it. I'm going to show you how to do it with cofactors and minors rather than using row operations. When we get above 4 by 4, then yes, I would use row operations. For 3 by 3, still using cofactors and minors is really not that much trouble. So you're going to expand along this first row right here. And remember, the signs for each section will have a plus, and we'll have a minus and a plus for the signs as we go through and multiply. So we're going to start with 3 plus 3 times the minor, and we get the minor, remember, by marking out the column and the row that 3 is in. And so our minor is 3, 1, 1, 2. It's what's left uncrossed out. So it's 3, 1, 1, 2. Then we have minus 0. And I'll go ahead and write the minor for the 0, even though anything times 0 will be 0. So we'll erase this mark here. And now we'll mark out the first row and first column, second row, because that's where the 0 is located. And so our minor for this is negative 2, and 1, 2. Okay. Then we're going to go back to the 1 at the bottom of that first column. And so it'll be plus again. And the minor for the 1, we'll have to mark out change our here, and we'll mark out the first column and the bottom row to get the minor that goes with the 1, which will be negative 2, 3, and 1. Okay. Now we'll calculate these determinants. So we're going to go through and we'll have 3 times, multiply on the diagonal, 6 minus 1. Minus 0 times anything is 0. Plus 1 times negative 2 times 1. Minus negative 6, so that's going to be plus 6. So this is 1 times 4. Our 0, and then 6 minus 1 is 5, so that'll be 15. So 15 minus... and that's going to be plus. 15 plus 4 is 19. So the value of D is 19. Okay? Now we need to find dx, dy, and dz. And remember, what we're going to do for dx is you're going to take these numbers in the answer column and replace them put them in the x column. For dy, you'll put those numbers in the y column, and for dz, you'll put them in the z column. So let's move on to the next slide and show how to find dx using this. This is using row operations, but we're going to use just minors and cofactors. So we're looking at dx. Again, we've got plus. Then this will have a minus and a plus. We're going to expand around this first column. So negative 1 is our first number. Let me take those things off. I don't want those on there, so let's take those off. And so again, we're going to do here our first cofactors plus, so we'll have just negative 1 as it is, that number as it is. Then the minor for that, we'll mark this out, so we'll have 3, 1, 1, 2. Then we'll have minus, and the number in the second column is a negative 7. Okay. And then the minor for that negative 7 will be negative 2, 1, 2. And then the bottom number is plus 0. So it really doesn't matter what that minor is because 0 times anything is 0. But it will be negative 2, 3, 1. It's going to be hard for me to get it in there because I've run out of space. Let me write a little smaller. Plus 0. And then negative 2, 3, 1. so now we'll calculate the dx x determinant, or dx, which is -1 times 6 minus 1 plus 7 times -4 minus a -2, so that'll be plus 2, and then plus 0, because 0 times anything is 0. Okay, so this will be 5, so that'll be -5. This is -2, so 7 times -2 is -14. So dx is -19. So to find x, you'll say dx over d, which is -19 over 19. So my x is going to be 1. So we know x now. We know that x is 1. Now we need to go back and figure out what y is. Okay, so let's look at the y matrix. And this is doing some row operations on x. If you want to go back and look at that, I would look at the non-narrated PowerPoint to get this a better look, because I'm going to be writing over it and talking over it. So our dy, our y matrix looks like this. Again, we're going to expand around this first row. So we're going to say plus 3, then minus, and then plus. So we'll start with our 3. And the minor for the 3. We've replaced our y column with the answers. So we'll look for our minor for the 3, and this time it's going to be -7, 1, and 0, 2. Then we'll have plus 0. Excuse me, it'll actually be minus 0, but it doesn't really matter when it's 0. Okay, and this will mark out the second row so we can see that minor, which is -1, -2, 0, 2. Okay. Then we'll say plus 1. And the minor for the 1, so we can see it a little clearer, we can mark out the bottom row, is -1, -2, and -7, 1. Okay. Now we'll calculate the determinant, which is 3 times -14 minus 0. Minus 0 times anything is 0. Plus 1 times -1 minus 14. Now let me get that right. -1 minus a positive 14, which will be minus 14. Okay, so that'll be -15. Minus 0 plus 0 doesn't matter. And -14 times 3 will be -42. So dy will be -57. So y will be -57 over 19, which will be -3. So now we know y. X is -1, y is -3. Then we'll need to find out what z is. Okay? So let's go and find our minor, our value for z. Again, expanding around the first column, minus, plus, or plus, minus, plus. We'll have 3. And mark out this row. So we have 3, -7, 1, 0. Okay. Then we're going to do around the 0 plus the 0 or minus the 0. And our minor, which really doesn't matter because we'll be multiplying by 0. And then we'll have plus 1 and the minor on the 1. And we can see it better if we go ahead and mark out the row that it's on. Okay, so we'll mark out the bottom row, and so it's -2, -1. 3 and negative 7. Okay, so this then is 3 times 0 plus 7 minus 0 times anything is 0 plus 1 times 14 plus 3. 14 minus a negative 3 will be 17. And then we'll have 3 times 7 is 21. So dz is equal to 38. Okay, so we know that z is dz over d, which is 38 over 19, or 2. So we found out that x was 1, negative 1, y was negative 3, and z is 2. And that's the way I would do this with minors and cofactors. You can go back and look and see how they've done it with row operations to find the determinants. They're going to do that one for z here, and they'll find that it is 38, just like I did. I think it's easier to do it my way personally, but you're certainly welcome to do the row operations. That may be the end of the PowerPoint. Let's see. They get they get the same numbers we do for the solution. Okay, yes, it is the end of the PowerPoint. Okay, so that is part 2 and finishing up the PowerPoint from when it got cut off earlier.